Ooh, hopefully the audio sounds all right. But we are here today and we're talking about the fact that this is a little random time NBA episode. Not expecting huge crowds. Don't even have that good of lighting right now. But with that being said, we're here to talk about a few things from Portland Trailblazers rumors to Pistons coaching news. It's either going to be Monty Williams or Charles Lee, as well as Brandon Miller complaining about being, not complaining, or, I guess you would say.
He wants to be the number 2 pick.
Yeah, with that, what's it called?
It's not really complaining.
Not
he's just
is it
lobbying,
peddling?
lobbying. He's lobbying.
That was the word I was looking for. And we got some Bulls, Pelicans, and more news circling around the web. But let's get right into that. I'm joined by our favorite legal eagle, Mr. Luke Ramirez. How are you doing today, bud?
I'm doing all right. It's kind of a slow news day for the NBA while we wait for the finals to start.
Oh, 100%.
But today is the draft deadline, so we're going to start seeing more and more guys announce whether they're coming back or not, or if they're going to stay. Like we already saw this morning, Adama Sanogo announced that he's going to be staying in the draft.
Like he should be.
Like he should be. Big news. Sucks for UConn next year. Their chances of going back-to-back. It's a little bit worse now without their best player, but
somebody's going to be getting a good prospect, though. That's all that matters.
Yeah, a guy who added a jump shot this past year as well, and he's obviously great NBA body, rim protector, rebounder. He really is he's a great NBA big, a great modern NBA big, especially because of that new three-point shot that he seems to have found.
Yeah, Shea Texan will be looking different as fuck. Jackson had stuff to do today, and his Wi-Fi wasn't working. I woke up an hour late, and then his Wi-Fi was down, so it was a culmination of things. And then I just wanted to test out some new gear I got, which, how does the audio sound? Let us know. Right now, from what I'm getting on our levels, we should be bouncing just about right
Seems
now.
Like it's fine.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna have my audio reader right now just open to see how our levels are doing. Yeah, it looks perfect. Okay, so basically we'll get right into today, and we're going to talk about first the Portland Trailblazers. I think the Portland Trailblazers have some interesting news going on right there. They just came out and said that besides a trade for like Joel Embiid, Shaedon Sharpe's untouchable, and unless Damian Lillard reverses course, they're going to build around him. Jusuf Nurkic is allegedly on his way out. Anthony Simons, they do like him, but they just see him being the best tradable piece.
They've been fielding a lot of offers for him as well as the pick.
But they're also fine with either center.
Yeah. They're fine with either guy, too.
They're fine keeping the pick, is what we're hearing, too.
They like either guy that they could get at 3. They don't mind trading it. Nobody really knows what's going on with Portland. Like, I'm not saying that they don't have a direction, because they do have a direction, and at least right now it's to try to rebuild a team around Dame. Because and they've got some good young pieces, obviously, like Shaedon Sharpe and Anthony Simons, but nobody knows what this team's gonna do. It's they're not completely directionless. It's not like they're like the Oakland A's of baseball, but nobody really knows what's going on. There is no set plan. It's not like we know the Spurs are taking Webber.
Oh, no, 100%. And keep the pick and draft Scoot, trade Dame, and then start over. I don't know. It's just...
Trading Dame is just a hard thing to convince any organization to do.
Of a player of that caliber. That's the big problem.
It's Dame. You don't just find Dames in the draft.
And even if Scoot worked out, is Scoot Henderson's potential being better than Dame? There's very little basketball players in this world that can be better than Dame.
You don't just find Dames on trees. It's like trying to replace him. It's like when the Colts, they got lucky when they replaced Peyton Manning with Andrew Luck.
I also realized we just had for the first 3-4 minutes.
Oh, we had the music going on still?
Yeah, so much.
But yeah, it's like when the Colts, when they tried to replace Peyton Manning with Andrew Luck.
No, but
it worked out.
It did work out. Were you listening to Pat McAfee today?
No, what did he say?
He literally referenced
that.
He said he referenced it today where he was saying that, holy crap, what were they talking about? Who's somebody that just got okay? So it's Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers. He's talking about that situation.
Yes, it's like Aaron Rodgers.
If we look back in a year, if Aaron Rodgers wins a Super Bowl, but then Jordan Love wins comeback of the year, or is a Pro Bowl or all All-Pro, and you look 3 down years, Aaron Rodgers is still playing. Maybe he has a Super Bowl ring and like has an MVP, but Jordan Love is like an All-Pro.
They'd be fine with that.
Yeah,
because they know that they replaced Aaron Rodgers successfully. But the problem is Aaron
but
Rodgers.
he said it'd be more akin to the Andrew Luck, Broncos, where like everyone's cool with it. It worked out, but obviously, like you'd think that
it's like Peyton won a Super Bowl, not
he had
like
his best years with
not Andrew
arguably
Luck.
the Broncos.
I mean, arguably. I mean, his best years are with the Colts, but still, he still had good years with the Broncos.
But that's that situation we're comparing it to Scoot Henderson.
Yes,
to Damian Lillard.
like it works. It worked. Andrew Luck was a great player, but the thing is, one, is Scoot gonna actually work? And I don't think Scoot's gonna be a bust because I think he will be a great player. But one, is he gonna be a great player? Because you don't know. And two, if he is a great player, is he gonna be better than Dame?
That's a hard thing to ask.
That's a hard thing to say because like Scoot can have a great career, he can have a Hall of Fame career, and he still might not be better than Dame.
And that's the big. You're taking a big swing, a big if with that. And we're gonna go over here, and there's some rumors that came out. Moving on from the whole draft aspect of this, but more so in the terms of what they're going to do this offseason. So what we're hearing from Michael Scotto on a recent edition of his podcast, we know Damian Lillard is going to stay, and that what they do with the third pick depends because, they're cool with Scoot Henderson or Brandon Miller. They think Brandon Miller fits what they need to do. They also like Scoot Henderson. But the thing is they're looking at the situation. They figured out that Jeremy Grant is a great fit next to Damian Lillard. They want more of those guys. I've said if you can somehow figure out, send Anthony Simons, the third overall pick, and maybe another pick or two to the Raptors, then reroute Nurkic to another team because you assume the Raptors don't want Nurkic because they're going to re-sign Pirtle. You bring in not only Pascal Siakam, who kind of might be a weird fit next to Jeremy Grant, but you also bring in OG Anunoby. Now you're telling me Damian Lillard, OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, and Jeremy Grant as your first 4 guys, and then you go out and get a center, maybe like you trade for like a Daniel Gafford or you sign.
That team at least makes the playoffs
as a top 6 seed.
And that's good for them. Like the Blazers want that they need progress.
I don't see Zach LaVine being the thing is a lot of the guys that are tradable are floor raisers. They're not ceiling raisers.
Yeah,
and I see a combination of
Pascal's a combination of both.
Yeah, depending
Whereas
on the team.
Zach LaVine is not.
He's just a floor raiser.
And that's fine, but the problem is the Blazers aren't exactly going to trade the number 3 pick for a floor raiser. That doesn't make any sense. So, like, obviously, there was some Jaylen Brown trade offers thrown out there too. But
I don't see Jaylen
every single day. That looks less and less like it's.
He's going to sign the contract and then down the road.
Yeah, he's going to sign the contract, and I bet you in 3 years out of the 5-year deal, after 3 seasons, maybe 4. Nah, maybe not 4. They probably won't wait that long. Probably 2 or 3 years after the 5-year deal, I think maybe they'd be like, "Well, if this isn't working, we trade you."
Yeah, give us. Hey, by the way, guys,
trade him to the Hawks for Trae Young on his impending free agency, so that way everybody wins.
Let us know how the audio sounds. If it's too loud, if we should lower it a little bit, or if it's too quiet, let us know down below right now in the comments with the audio. We're just trying out a new setup with our handheld mic connected to the preamp I have over here, but. Yeah, no, I think with the Damian Lillard situation, you look at it like this, like, okay, obviously Jaylen Brown would be great. But if you take a situation where you think, I think OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam are the best players that might be tradable to get. I don't know who else out in the market right now.
Probably, yeah, because I don't think because they're better. It's better to get those guys than Zach LaVine because you don't want that contract.
Yeah, Mikal Bridges is untradeable.
Who's another guy that has a bad contract that you don't
untradeable, but
if they're not going to trade him. Who's another guy that has a bad contract that
Bradley Beal isn't going anywhere, but you could say he's one of those guys.
That's a big contract. That's pretty hard.
I see DeMar DeRozan as a floor raiser. I love the guy. I just
I think he's a ceiling raiser. I don't think Zach LaVine is, but DeMar.
If we're saying Pascal Siakam's a little bit of both, depending on the situation, DeMar has to be the third option on it as a ceiling raiser.
You're telling me DeMar is behind Pascal Siakam in that offense? Is that what you're telling me? Come on. No.
At this point in his career,
no, not at this point in his career. Forget he averaged like 28 a game 2 years ago.
You know what team that I think is perfect for DeMar DeRozan? The Milwaukee Bucks.
That actually would be a good fit for him.
To replace right now Chris Middleton with DeMar DeRozan, I'd take that.
That'd actually be a great fit.
You probably get him cheaper too.
Yeah, but the thing, like DeMar's better than Siakam. Don't come on now.
I don't know at this point in his career.
I still think he is at this point in his career. Come on now. This is DeMar DeRozan we're talking about.
But Pascal plays both ways.
I know, but DeMar doesn't really do that anymore. But
that's what I'm saying. That's
know,
why
but it's still
the win share, the value of winning. I think Pascal gives you more winning basketball right now than.
I don't know if he does though. because I think DeMar instantly helps the Blazers out offensively.
All right.
The spacing worries me a little bit, but they still have a bunch of shooters. So
Now you look around the ring. I also said I don't see DeAndre Ayton. Like I love DeAndre Ayton.
That's a contract that's tough to move.
And the thing is like I think DeAndre Ayton, yes, he's been capped, but because of Monty Williams, and that I think he can get better, but I don't know how much better he gets. And I don't think that him getting
he's like
better,
an 18-10 guy, and I think how much better he gets is like a 22 and like 10 maybe,
or 22 and 13.
Yeah, something like 22 and 11 or something. Like it'll be slightly better, but it won't be like Embiid or Jokic level dominant big guys like they thought he was going to be.
If like I would completely understand if they somehow the Mavs, this is like not, Blazers talk, but right here the Mavs, if they were able to trade Davis Bertans, Tim Hardaway, and JaVale McGee, and send Davis somewhere else, and then send just Tim Hardaway and JaVale to the Mavs, no picks involved, and just take DeAndre Ayton. I understand if the Mavs did that because they didn't involve any picks and they just got themselves a guy.
Yeah.
And they keep Kyrie.
Yeah, they just got Ayton and they get to keep Kyrie.
That's not bad. That's the only team that I see where it could
But
work.
the problem is when you start to have to give up picks to get Ayton, and you start to have to give up your roster and picks.
But you just moved off of 3
and you're
bad contracts and you just took his, and you're taking the risk that him being the third option, he's going to be this hyper efficient.
If they're giving 3 bad. The Suns don't do that trade.
No, but I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. They're saying that the Mavs.
The Suns, you'd send Davis Bertans somewhere else to get maybe either for like other assets. You could send the Suns, you know what I mean, to like maybe a rebuilding team or something where you send it like here. You send like Davis Bertans and like a couple seconds for like Kelly Olynyk and Rudy Gay. And you send Kelly Olynyk, Rudy Gay, and Tim Hardaway Jr. and JaVale McGee, and I think a couple of those guys' contracts are only partially guaranteed, so the Suns can waive half the guys and maybe keep like Tim Hardaway, and if they believe JaVale can do something for them. But back to the Blazers, it's just they don't have the opportunity to do that. Like already they're looking to trade Jusuf Nurkic, and I would be calling up the Wizards. And I mean the Wizards I love them, but I'd be like, here's Jusuf Nurkic and a bunch of second-round picks for Daniel Gafford.
I think the Celtics should also look at getting Nurkic as a backup center behind.
I've actually offered. I floated out that the Blazers, if in a vacuum where I don't think it happens, but Jaylen Brown gets traded.
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday on the show a little bit.
Jaylen Brown, and Al Horford. For Jusuf Nurkic, Anthony Simons,
the number 3 pick, and probably a second first-round pick,
unprotected first-round pick.
Yeah,
you do that. I know Al Horford's only making 9.5, but you give him Nurkic, Nurkic and Robert Williams can be your 2 centers.
Yeah,
and Nurkic's deal eventually will expire before Robert Williams, and then Al Horford.
That way you don't need to worry about keeping them both because Robert Williams is your guy.
And then for the front court, you can bring in Al Horford. You already have Drew Eubanks. Then you go out and sign someone like Andre Drummond. Now you got Drew Eubanks, who's kind of in the middle. He's an all-around center,
can kind of shoot.
Who can kind of shoot. He's kind of like he's like an average backup center. Like you want to play. He can spot start. Nothing bad about him. And then you get Andre Drummond for situations where you need a lot of rebounding. Okay,
what Drew Eubanks can't do.
Yeah, what Drew Eubanks can't do. Like Drew Eubanks can rebound
well, but not like Drummond, but
like on the offense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you have Al Horford as your starting center to space the floor and be like
a good passer and ball handling center, kind of.
But then when you need defense or more things, you put Drummond or Eubanks out there.
Because they would still be getting the Al Horford ability to switch and guard multiple positions
or 3-team trade with the Celtics. You send Horford to the Wizards and you send Gafford to the Blazers, and they get Gafford signed. Drummond and they have Eubanks still, and they run a committee.
Still work out Nurkic. Nurkic and Williams is the 2.
Yeah,
I mean, like that trade's not going to happen because the Celtics aren't trading Jaylen Brown right now. The Jaylen Brown trade got pushed back 2 years at least because of the All-NBA, because they didn't get swept in the playoffs.
Yeah, the Blazers. But I sit here and I think the Blazers finally realized that they want more guys like Simons. I mean, in a convoluted, in a vacuum world, I think right here you call up the Warriors, and you're like Naz Little, or I mean not even Naz Little, Nurkic, Simons, no picks involved, Klay Thompson.
Yeah, in a vacuum world, yes. But
the Warriors are saying no.
The Blazers also aren't doing that trade because Klay Thompson is a bad contract.
I know.
Like a really bad contract. He's getting paid $43 million.
I know.
That is bad. That is a bad for a guy that
In the
isn't what he
NBA,
used.
can you have teams take on part of the contract, or it doesn't work like that?
No,
Or
but it's not like baseball or soccer.
NFL.
It's not like baseball, soccer, NFL.
Because
Where
the NFL, I know you can trade a quarterback, and they'll be like, okay, we're gonna eat 18 million. You'll take
Yeah.
the other 20 million.
Yeah, and like whereas like in MLB and in soccer,
They do the same thing.
In soccer, it's like you retain a percentage of the salary. That's
okay. They don't do that in basketball. I'm pretty sure. I've never seen anything being
don't.
like
Nope.
X. I know, like during the season, the cap hit lowers because already part of that salary has been paid.
Yes, but like other sports have that to some. Other sports have that too.
But it's not that
It's
you can just be like, I'm trading you. We'll pay 15 million this season. It's because the contracts are guaranteed. You take on the full contract.
Yeah.
Okay.
And even in baseball, where the contracts are fully guaranteed, and same with soccer, they still can have like in soccer, for example, when you loan somebody out, you can be like, "Hey, you're going to pay.
In basketball,
you're going to pay all his wages."
Do they restructure contracts?
I mean, like
it would have to be a renegotiation where they tack on extra years.
They'd have to renegotiate the entire. Whereas, like in football, it's just a simple, we'll just restructure your contract
Tack
to make
on
this,
a couple of years.
We'll make this guaranteed. We'll make this like unguaranteed incentive money a signing bonus. That way, it's less of a cap hit for us, and that way, like that's.
I just really like the idea of that.
That's what the Celtics.
Nurkic, Anthony Simons.
The Chiefs did that with Mahomes.
The thing is like if the Warriors really were willing to move on from Klay Thompson, okay, give Klay Thompson 2 second-round picks for Anthony Simons and Nurkic. Okay, then if the Blazers can, they extend Klay Thompson, restructure the deal to lower the cap hit this year, and push the money down the road. Okay, and you bring back Jeremy Grant. Okay, and you somehow open up cap space where you can still go out and use maybe like 20 million. You got yourself Klay Thompson, Damian Lillard. I mean, it's never.
That's never gonna happen. But yeah, like. It would be in the vacuum. That's a nice
I just
idea.
don't think there's good enough guys out there for them to go get.
There really isn't. There's not any good enough guys out there for them to really get right now. Then again, like, I mean, it's not like, for example, when Boston Celtics were shit and Paul Pierce got hurt, and they were lucky because that Celtics team had 2 stars that were on the trade block. Kevin Garnett was on the trade block because the Timberwolves weren't going to keep him, and Ray Allen was on the trade block because Seattle wasn't going to keep him either because they were rebuilding. There's nothing like that in this offseason to say that the Blazers can
team that was rebuilding is trying to make the jump out of rebuilding.
Yeah, and they're keeping all their assets, whereas like the Timberwolves were stuck in nowhere in purgatory, and they're like, how do we get good? And also Kevin McHale wanted to do.
I was going to say the only other player that they can trade right now, would you package Anthony Simons, Nurkic, but you're gonna have to send Nurkic to a different team and a third team to do this trade with a third pick for Karl Anthony Towns. That's the best player. That's the best player, and they haven't even came out and said it. But I have made videos on it. I'm a Timberwolves fan, and other Timberwolves fans agree with me. Even though we don't want Rudy Gobert, I know Timberwolves fans have said that we had to choose to trade Rudy Gobert or Karl Anthony Towns.
But you can't trade Rudy Gobert.
We can't trade Rudy Gobert because we made the commitment, so we have to trade Karl Anthony Towns because that's what we got. We gotta double down at this point.
You guys need picks.
We need picks.
We need
to recoup the draft assets we lost and build our depth up. And the only tradable players here. So you do a deal where you send Nurkic to another team. Maybe you think of a team like that needs a center. I can't even think of one. Maybe you do the Mavericks. You have the Mavericks send, Tim Hardaway and JaVale to the Timberwolves. You send
like Dwight Powell or something.
Dwight Powell.
Is he a free agent? He's a free agent.
So the two I just said.
I thought he had one more year on his
deal. Or
deal
maybe you do like Maxi Kleba and Tim Hardaway to the Timberwolves. Nurkic goes to the Mavs. Then you send Anthony Simons and the third pick. Maybe I think they want to keep Naz Little, and the third pick to the T-Wolves. Karl Anthony Towns goes to the Blazers, Nurkic to the Mavs, Simons and the third pick to the Wolves. The Wolves can then package the third pick in any other contracts like Mike Conley to actually go get somebody. But the Wolves then have, backing up Rudy Gobert. You have yourself, Nathan Knight or whoever they sign.
The Wolves
or they can re-sign Naz Reid. And then they also get themselves Tim Hardaway Jr. as their 6th man.
They might want more than just the 3rd overall pick, though. I know it's Cat, but still, the Wolves might obviously this is never going to happen, but because
that's actually a realistic trade because they need a point guard, and Anthony Simons would let them move on from Mike Conley. Anthony Simons, Anthony Edwards backcourt.
Yeah,
you have Jaden McDaniels.
They finally get draft assets.
They get Jaden McDaniels. They have Rudy Gobert. Yeah. They can bring back Naz Reid now. who could
But
be the
yeah.
starting power forward next to.
Like it sucks to get rid of Cat, but like
You're right. They probably want more picks. Maybe they have to ask for picks from the 10th pick too.
oh my god.
Then they package the 3rd and 10th pick.
Yeah, I mean they could, but
Who do they trade for?
Again, who do they trade for?
They call up the Magic and they ask for like I don't think Markelle Fultz fits, but like Cole Anthony, Chumo KK.
Who else would they give up 2 first-round picks for?
I don't even know because like the Magic need a point guard. Maybe they call
up the Knicks and say
Rockets.
Then they call up the Knicks and we're like, we want Julius Randle.
What about the Rockets?
They want Julius Randle.
What if they call up the Rockets and they're like, send us KPJ, Jabari Smith, Jayshawn Tate.
The Rockets give up on their core already.
Emma Udoka's there.
Emma Udoka's not there to rebuild.
And they send them Mike Conley, the 3rd and 10th pick.
And
then Ime Udoka packages those pick for Jaylen Brown. The 3rd, the 4th, and the 10th.
Yeah, the 3rd, the 4th, and the 10th, and then one more. Because Rudy Gobert was worth 4 first-round picks. I know Jaylen Brown is. So yeah,
okay, we're done with that.
We're done with random bullshit Blazers trades that won't actually happen, but that we want to happen because we think it'd be funny.
Okay, we're talking right here, Nikola Vucevic in a turn of events, because if you guys had been following earlier in the season, we knew that. I actually just want to move this closer because
just scoot the laptop closer and just tilt it back up a little bit.
There we go. Okay, so right here we've been hearing that Nikola Vucevic. When he got traded, he was in the midst of the greatest season of his career, shooting like 54% from the field, like 40% from 3. He was averaging like 23 points a night, grabbing like 12 rebounds, 4 assists, stealing a block a night. Since then, he's still like a 50% from the field. He's averaged like 17.6 back-to-back.
He's a 30-something percent three-point shooter.
33, 34. He's been 31.
It's like low 30s.
First full season was 31. Then
which is third. That's not great, but
yeah, his second full year this past season, he shot 34.
That's fine.
But he was on like a 4-year stretch with the Magic of shooting like
30, like high 30s, 35 plus.
Yeah, but like 37 plus.
Oh.
He was like he was like the best. Like
he was one of the best shooting bigs.
Him and Karl-Anthony Towns were the top two.
He was one of the best shooting bigs in the league.
Yeah. It was either Karl-Anthony Towns or Vucevic.
It's like this guy can shoot. This guy is a great rebounder. He can shoot, but man, he sucks on defense.
And we heard that they were trying to trade him this deadline. I don't know if you remember that.
That was
they were trying to trade
around.
Vooch this deadline, and that they were going to move on from him. He's eligible for a 4-year, $118 million deal. I believe it is what he's eligible for. And I just don't know if they're supposedly
he's going to get it. He's going to get it, but it depends on who.
No, but the Bulls and him have open discussions for a contract extension, and they have till June 30th, or he becomes unrestricted free agent. And Jakob Poeltl is allegedly going to get offers for his deal is probably going to be a 4-year, $17 million on average. So that's $68 million, probably $70 million. On offense, yeah, I say I think they're the same level.
Because he's better on offense, he'll be more valuable in terms of free
That's why I
deals.
said I could see.
And also,
I think Vucevic's
other thing. Past production. Past production also is going to help him get a bigger deal than Poeltl because 1, he's played better than Poeltl in the past, and 2, he's better offensively. So, because of his pedigree, which is better than Poeltl's, whether he deserves a bigger deal or not, I don't know. I would probably agree with you that they're probably on the same level. But he's going to get more money because of those 2 aspects. Because he's better offensively and his pedigree, people expect more from him than they would from Poeltl because he's a bigger name than Poeltl. So it would make sense why he would probably get something slightly more than $17 million a year for 4 years.
No, but I agree with that. But what I'm saying is when I think about what like Poeltl is supposedly going to be making, closer to like. They're saying that Poeltl is going to be making like $17 million. So I think, like you said, it's going to be closer to, because of past production. Like I think a 4-year, $80 million is the floor.
Yeah.
Ceiling 4-year, $100.
Yeah. Realistically, my guess would be somewhere in the 4 to 85 to 95 range. Probably more like 4 to 85 to 90. If we're gonna base it off of Poeltl's, they could just say fuck it and say, hey, here's $105 million over 4 years right now. They could just say that but I don't think they will because the Bulls kind of want to save money. So
I just think the whole Bulls situation is
if the Bulls were like if the Bulls made the playoffs as like the 6th seed last year and lost in the first round, Vucevic would be getting paid.
I'm in a weird way with the Bulls that I personally believe you should trade everyone except Lonzo Ball, rebuild, and hopefully and give Lonzo Ball the Jonathan Isaac approach, what the Magic did, and sell off.
Yeah, but I don't know if they want to do that because I don't think they have time to wait for Lonzo.
No, but I'm saying is you just rebuild and then you just get a bunch of rookies and you're just like, Lonzo, take your time healing. We got rookies on 4-year deals. You can come back when they're in their 3rd year and we'll try to make the jump.
I mean that's not.
Did that idea bore you so much you had to yawn?
Yeah, that's how boring it was. Because they're still going to be the same. They're still in 3 years. They're going to be in the same spot that they are like they were last year. Like they're just going to be in a fringe playoff team that probably it's bounce in the first round. It's like a 5 through 8 seed.
Yeah, but at least it's young guys.
Yeah, at least it's cheaper. At least they're not spending this kind of money now.
And like they have the
like it's not like they're like pouring
I just
money
think
into Zach LaVine like they are now.
Nikola Vucevic, you are.
If you're re-signing Nikola Vucevic, you are
to 4 years, 118 million.
Like that is a lot of money. That is a lot of money, and they are giving up on rebuilding. They're giving up on rebuilding. Yeah,
it's just. I think this team, if you're not going to rebuild, you got to retool.
They should not re-sign Vucevic. Right, let's get that out of the way right now. I do not think they should.
But I mean, also the it's not like the center market's the best center market in the world. Okay, we're sitting here.
But that money could be better spent elsewhere to improve the team. Besides dumping it to a guy who sucks on defense and is on the wrong side of 30.
I mean, you're right. You're not wrong.
It's a lot. A 4-year deal is a lot, man. If they did like a 2-year deal with like an option as the 3rd year, that might be better. But Vucevic wants security, so. I don't know, man. I don't know. If they re-sign him, that's a lateral move. They're not actually trying to signal that they're going to do anything and improve. Reinsdorf would just be signaling at that point that he's fine with being a fringe playoff team that loses in the play-in or gets bounced in the first round, which like, I guess
if that's what you want,
sometimes that's what teams want to do. Like the Kemba Walker Charlotte Hornets did that forever, but it just doesn't make sense. Like,
now to switch up, this was a short show. We weren't over here thinking about doing too much. We just had some topics to talk about. Real quickly, I want to touch on the Pelicans. I can't believe we spent 15 minutes talking about the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah, I know. Oh, shout out Portland Trailblazers fans. You know, your team doesn't get enough love, so we're the ones that'll give it to you. So,
all right. So the Pelicans fired or moving on. I don't know if they fired, but Aaron Nelson, they're basically the chief medical person.
They're restructuring their entire training staff, it looks like.
Because over the last 4 seasons, they have finished 7th, 27th, 28th, and 7th, I believe it was, in games lost to injury.
Okay, 7th in the league in game. You said 27th, 28th, and then 7th 2 years?
I think 7th is bad.
Oh, so 27th to 28th is good or bad?
I think 28th and 27th is good.
Okay. I was like, how are we ranking?
I don't know. They didn't really express it, but I assume the first year and the last year both being 7, also being the years that Zion basically missed the entirety of the seasons.
Yeah.
So I think the 7th is bad. They were 7th in games they lost because of injury.
Yeah, which means, so 7th most.
Yeah, 7th most. And then they had 2 years of being the 28th and like 27th.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hopefully, and people don't realize player nutrition, player safety, player health is like so important and so critical.
And way more injuries happen now than they ever did because players are covering way more space now than they ever have, and there's more cuts and more like sudden movements, which means
AU is a huge factor.
Yeah, the wear and tear on their bodies.
Like 10 years by the time they get to the league already.
There's a lot of reasons why NBA injuries and why load management is way more than it is now. And so when these dumb old idiots talk about how there shouldn't be any injuries because the game is less physical now, they're stupid because there is more injuries. There's a lot more non-contact injuries now because of the things that we just fucking said. But yeah, the Pelicans, Zion just can't stay on the floor.
No, I agree.
He just can't stay on the floor. They
get somebody who can figure it out. And then
Brandon Ingram missed time this year.
Supposedly part of the reason they fired him was they were frustrated over handling of Brandon Ingram's injury this past season.
Yeah, because Brandon Ingram missed time this year a lot. And like Brandon Ingram everybody has injury problems, but Brandon Ingram isn't a guy that you would say is injury prone.
Yeah, and he missed a
significant amount of time that caused them to back into the play-in and lose.
Exactly.
And that team should have been in the playoffs. That team should have been a top 4 seed in the Western Conference. Fully healthy, that team should have been a top 4 seed in the West. But they didn't even make it there because they were injured.
And I think it just goes to show like people are realizing, hey, health is so critical, and it's not just the players, it's it's, the guys that matter.
That picture is pretty funny.
Yeah, I think this is
Who's the
what-
guy with the eyes around him?
Troy
Is that-
Weaver.
Oh, okay. And then Dwayne Casey, and then what the hell is that picture? But yeah, Pelicans needed to shake up. It's clearly something was going on in the back room, with the back room
Pelicans, you
staff.
mean?
Yeah, because like, dude, they had so many guys that get injured. They were doing something wrong.
No, 100%.
They were doing something wrong. I don't know what it was, but
Hopefully this is what fixes it.
I would hope so. Yeah.
So they're the Pistons. I reported earlier that the Pistons were, before Monty Williams was fired, the Pistons were were narrowing down their coaching search earlier in May to Kevin Ollie, Jerron Collins, and Charles Lee. Then it went quiet. Monty Williams got fired. Then we found out that Monty Williams last week had declined an offer to coach the Pistons, and he had been telling all teams that reached out to him that he was planning to take the year off, as he has $20 million coming his way over the next 3 years from the Phoenix Suns still. However, news has came out and said that the other
Pistons
day,
backed up the Brinks. They're going to back up the Brinks truck for him.
yeah, but the thing is that we heard the other day that Kevin Ollie and the Charles Lee were the finalists. But today we find out that they're going to make one last run at Monty Williams, offering him over $10 million a year to be their new head coach. And if Monty Williams again declines the offer, they are going to extend an olive branch, and hopefully Charles Lee.
Charles Lee's the guy. Charles Lee's
the backup plan of Monty Williams.
Charles Lee is the guy for this job because
I wanted Kevin Ollie, Loki.
I love Kevin Ollie, and
I wanted him to finally get unblackballed.
He got blackballed from college because
for no reason. No reason.
They tried to make him the fall guy for like, like the misconduct of the administration at UConn went far beyond Kevin Ollie, but they tried to make him the fall guy, and then they tried to cheat him out of the school tried to cheat him out of his payments, like what KU did with David Beatty, and what St. John's is doing with their coach that they fired for Rick Pitino, because they're trying to say he got fired for cause, which means he won't get his buyout. So they tried to do that. Kevin Ollie's been blackballed really ever since.
Had to coach a fucking minor league to get back.
Yeah, Kevin Ollie's been blackballed ever since.
Startup minor league.
Yeah. The Charles Lee is the guy. Monty Williams is not taking
40 under 40.
Monty Williams is not taking this job. He's not.
He's not.
He's not taking this job. They're going to do what they can to try to get back up the Brinks
Julian
truck.
Phillips is keeping his name in the draft.
Julian Phillips is keeping his name in the draft. That was
a guy the Pistons could go after.
That was a guy that I thought was going to be on the very fence until the very end about keeping his name in the draft or not. Because like he could gain a lot, but he's one of the guys who I thought had the most to gain by coming back, but he also like had a good enough stock that he could just stay now, Yeah,
no, completely.
Because like he could have been a first round pick if he came back and everything, and the shooting worked out because everything else is there. I love Julian Phillips. I'm a huge fan of his.
Really nice guy, good head on his shoulder.
Yeah.
I would love the Pistons need wings. He'd be a good guy.
He is a great defense first wing playing under Rick Barnes, Tennessee. That's going to be there.
But back to the Pistons.
Yeah.
I like Charles Lee, young guy.
Charles Lee's the guy because
He's like
Monty Williams isn't taking this job.
He's worked his way up with Mike Budenholzer. He was almost a coach last offseason.
Yes.
I think, again, a little biasy with the Kevin Ollie thing. I just wanted him to get another chance.
Same. I love Kevin Ollie.
I didn't know if he'd be a great NBA coach, but
he'd be a better NBA coach than most college guys because he played 10 plus years in the league
and mentored Kevin Durant,
yeah,
LeBron James. But what I'm going to say is I thought he'd be the guy that would help this team get ready to be a playoff team. Then they'd get like an established coach after a few seasons. Then he'd finally get a shot to go back to college.
Yeah.
That's how I thought it would play out for Kevin Ollie, and I was happy.
But it is what it is. He's probably not going to get the job. Charles Lee is probably going to be the guy, which I think is a good hire for the Pistons. I think they needed it. But Monty's not taking this job. The Pistons should honestly, I'm surprised they're even trying to get Monty again. I don't really know why. I'd honestly, if I was the Pistons, I would have just, after Monty said no the first time, just be like, nope. We're going to get Charles Lee because I don't care how good of a coach you think Monty Williams is. This team is not going to win right away next year. So
no, completely. And
why would you pay a shit ton of money to a guy and back up the Brinks truck to a guy that's not going to win right away anyway? So the Pistons.
I also think if a guy's already declined the offer, why are you still chasing?
Why are you still chasing after him?
He doesn't want to go there.
No, he said no. He doesn't want to coach for your shit team. It's not that he wants to take the year off because I still think he wants to coach. I just don't think he wants to coach for the shitty Pistons. I think he wants to coach a better job. So, like,
I also think he might be the guy who wants this Quinn Snyder treatment.
Yeah, but I don't know. Has he earned that?
Kind of, yeah. Back-to-back coach of the year.
Has Quinn Snyder even earned the Quinn Snyder treatment?
Yeah. Come on. He's like arguably one of the greatest regular season coaches in the last decade.
Has he won anything?
Have
They blew a 25-point lead in when they had a 3-2 series lead to a team that didn't have Paul George or Kawhi Leonard, and Terrence Mann was cooking.
You're
his
an evil
defense.
person, you know that.
I'm just shooting the shit. I'm playing devil's advocate.
But
yeah, the point is
Charles Lee. I think any of these final three coaches, Charles Lee, Monty Williams, or Nikola Vucevic, are way better than Dwayne Kelly. I mean, not Nikola Vucevic, Charles Lee, Kevin Ollie, and Monty Williams are better than Dwayne Casey.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. There's a reason why Dwayne Casey got removed from his job.
He didn't remove. They mutually
step,
moved him to
they
the
stepped
front
down
office.
And that Brad Stevens approach.
They Alvin Gentry'd it.
Yeah, that's probably a better comparison because Brad Stevens kind of like big. Danny Ainge just got fired, and then Brad Stevens was given the job. Like Brad Stevens got promoted. He didn't get removed.
My favorite was that Brad Stevens, what do you call it? Was like everyone was like he's gonna get fired.
Everyone's like he's gonna get fired. It's like, oh, Danny Ainge has resigned and stepped down as Celtics president, and now Brad Stevens is taking over. That was wild. That was a wild turn of events.
Who would have thought?
That is not what I expected. And then they brought in Ime Udoka, and then we all saw how that worked out.
I know, and dude, I look at this and I hope they get it right. The Pistons are a good basketball city. And
this team deserves better. The city deserves better. The fans deserve better. This team has been through so much in the past like 10 plus years since 2010. They have been fucking awful forever. This team deserves more and this city deserves more. So I really hope the Pistons get it right. They got fucked. They can't catch a break. They don't even get the number one pick when they had the best chance to get it. So like they just can't catch a fucking break. I really hope that the Pistons get it together, but
also
this is how you start.
We all knew it was going to be Victor Wembanyama. The more you think about it, guess what are the number one team in France and the number one team in South America? Jersey sold.
What?
The San Antonio Spurs. They're like the.
Well, we all knew it was going to be the Spurs, but like that doesn't mean that like.
For months, I had been saying as a guy.
Yeah, like we all knew it was going to be the Spurs.
It just was perfect.
It just makes too much sense, but it still pisses me off. Like I wanted it to be the.
So Luke, for our last topic on today, what are we hearing about the Brandon Miller situation?
Brandon Miller has been lobbying the Charlotte. I almost called them the New Orleans Hornets for a second. The Charlotte Hornets. He's been lobbying them to take him with the second overall pick. Now, I personally would take Scoot over Brandon Miller. I think Scoot is a higher ceiling, and I think the Hornets kind of just need guys with a higher ceiling. So I would take Scoot. And I also I think Brandon Miller also fits better in Portland than he does in Charlotte right now.
No, I agree.
So I'm not really sure what's going on in his head. I guess being up one slot means a little bit more money, but like,
I mean, it's also the prestige of being.
I guess it's the prestige, yeah. But then again, Darko Milicic was the number 2 pick, and Carmelo was the number 3 pick. It doesn't mean shit. So you really
went there.
Yeah, of course I did. Obviously, Brandon Miller is not going to be that bad. Like,
I think he's Jeff Green or Chris Middleton.
He's not going to be Darko Milicic bad, but like his floor's too high for that.
Did you see the Jeff Green comparison where I saw it?
Yeah.
Same body.
Yeah, like I like Brandon Miller a lot. I don't know why he wants to go to Charlotte over Portland. Why the fuck would you want that? But like,
I mean, Charlotte's definitely a better city than Portland.
You get a basketball standpoint. From a basketball standpoint.
Also,
Portland has decriminalized mushrooms. What the fuck does Charlotte have?
Brandon Miller does not seem like the guy who needs to be taking mushrooms.
I know he's not. But that's my point, man. You're saying Charlotte's much better than Charlotte. You're saying Charlotte's much better than Portland. I don't know how much better it is.
I think it'd be interesting. I think Scoot's the better prospect.
Yeah, Scoot's the better prospect. So like it wouldn't like Scoot should go number 2, but like
Scoot's getting compared to MVP candidates, and
Brandon Miller is not.
Yeah, he's getting compared to Paul George. How many rings, how many championships is Paul George?
Paul George did finish 3rd in MVP voting once, so that's pretty good.
With the Thunder, wasn't it?
Yeah, with Thunder. Paul George went to multiple conference finals. He had a good career. Paul George is
why are you speaking in the past?
Getting compared to Paul George is he's not going to do more. He's not going to have much more playoff success, man. I'm sorry. The Clippers are not winning anything. So like Paul George's best playoff success moments are behind him.
I mean, he might be the best player on the Clippers.
He is the best player on the Clippers because he actually plays more than the other guy. But like Brandon Miller, getting paired to Paul George is fucking great. That is phenomenal. But
Is that who you
that's
really
the
are?
best. And I also don't think he's Paul George.
Nor do I. I think that's like.
I think that's like a best case scenario comparison that like isn't gonna like get Paul George is a fucking Hall of Famer.
Paul George. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just a tall glass of juice they're asking him to be compared to.
Yeah, and it's like, does he have the offensive game that Paul George has in terms of like creating his own shots? No. But like he can shoot well. The defensive upside is there. He was the best freshman in college basketball last year.
Was he actually?
Yeah.
No.
He averaged like 18 and 9.
But my question is would you say he was actually, or would you say in comparison, Scoot Henderson was better?
Scoot Henderson didn't play college basketball.
I know, but like if he did, the stats.
Oh, Scoot's stats might not have been better because Scoot might have played for a worse team, but Scoot's better, I think. Scoot's stats might not have been better in college because Brandon Miller was playing for a really good team and Brandon Miller didn't have to shoulder the load too much. Like he could score like 20 and 10, but Brandon Miller didn't have to for them to win.
Okay, that's a good way to
Brandon
put it.
Miller, that's why he was like a 40+% 3-point shooter because if you notice, he had a lot of open threes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like Alabama's offense was really good last year. It was one of the best in the country.
You know what's the weirdest thing? Jabari Smith, we all thought was like what Brandon Miller is. And then he turns out he's a big. They hyped.
Yeah.
Tell me I'm wrong. They acted like
I didn't think that. I watched a lot of college basketball, and Jabari was never a shot creator, and he had good ball handling skills for a big, but
they
it's
kept comparing him to Rashard Lewis.
Yeah, and which like that's actually not that bad of a comparison, but
he doesn't even move.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't move like Rashard Lewis does. He shoots like Rashard Lewis does, or at least that's it. Like, I think a better comparison would have been like, you know who a better comparison would have been?
Yeah.
Patrick Patterson.
Ooh, but that's
for Jabari Smith. Like instead of Rashard Lewis, Patrick Patterson would have been because the ball handling is not but Rashard Lewis level. It's more like Patrick Patterson level, which is competent for a 4-man.
He just was a guy that also I felt like was, I don't know,
or like Terrence Jones.
They just acted like he was going to be more of a forward when he was clearly a big.
Because people didn't watch him play. They only saw like the highlight tape of him doing a couple good crossovers and like mid-range jumpers. But if you watch Auburn basketball last year, how much was he actually? He was barely handling the ball. Bruce Pearl wanted his veteran point guards to handle the ball, so Jabari Smith didn't really handle the rock much. Jabari Smith never really dribbled.
And do you think that's why he struggled so much in the NBA?
I mean, like
his rookie season.
I think it's just because I think he struggled more so because it's not because he can't do it.
His shot's too long.
It's not because he can't do it. It's because the Rockets, Steven Silas specifically, they were asking him to be something that he wasn't.
That's a good way.
You can't ask a guy to be something that he's not. Like you can't make LeBron James play like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Shaq.
No, of course not.
You wouldn't make Shaq play like Anthony Davis. Like you have to know what your guys are good at and what they're bad at. And the Rockets have a big guy who can handle the ball already, who can pass and who can handle the ball. They have that. So they didn't need Jabari Smith to be that guy too because they already have that. Jabari Smith would actually fit in great next to Şengün, I think. I think those two is actually.
I think that's a great front
court. That's a high level front court. But Jabari Smith is a 4-man in the NBA. He is not. He is not like Rashard Lewis was also a 4-man, but he's not Rashard Lewis. That makes sense.
Rashard could also play the 3.
I know, and Jabari Smith isn't really going to stick at the 3. He'll be a small ball 5 more so than anything. I think
he looks more like a 5 at times.
He's a small ball 5. Then he's a small ball 5/4 instead of being a small ball 3 or a small ball 4 like Rashard Lewis was. Like it's just he's not that. But like still good player.
Oh, fantastic.
I like him. Good upside. I think he fits well next to Şengün. I think those two are going to make a pretty good front court. But Brandon Miller is a better prospect than Jabari Smith was at this point last year.
If you had to say, who would you rather trade for if you're a team that was looking to do a deal with the Rockets for the 4th pick and they offered you Jabari Smith, what team do you think would be most interested with Jabari Smith that he could be a win now guy?
Making Jabari Smith a win now guy?
Like that to a team that was trading that they would be like, oh, he can be an impactful player for.
So if you're telling me that the team trades like what? Like the Rockets
a star player.
Like the Rockets
trade the 4th pick for a star player and they package
Jabari with that?
Yeah.
Well, what team? Let's see what team actually wants to. What team is a fringe team that needs to take a next step? Let's think about this one. I mean,
would you trade DeMar DeRozan for the 4th pick and Jabari Smith?
Maybe because you're at least clearing up cap space. You're clearing up cap space, and you get the 4th overall pick, and you have Jabari, who you can also move.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see what Jabari's value looks like more this year.
What is Jabari's value? Can you get a pick back?
It depends on the team. It depends on the team, dude.
In redrafts, I've seen he goes like still top 10, but 8 or 9.
Who's ahead of him? Besides like Jalen Williams, Paolo, Jabari's. You're telling me he's the 8th? So Chet still goes above him? Wait, so Chet, who didn't play a game last year?
Yeah, Chet still goes 3rd.
That doesn't make any sense. Jabari at least played last year.
They had like
Jalen
Williams. Jalen Williams the 2nd pick.
I also liked Jabari more than Chet coming out of college. So take with that what you will. I'm also a Chet hater. So again, take with that what you will.
Alrighty.
I'm anti-Chet. I'm pro Jabari, but that still doesn't make sense.
Paulo goes 1.
Yes, obviously. Yes. No. He should be above Chet because Chet didn't play. Yeah, that's fair. Okay, all right. That's besides like Chet, I can't be mad.
He had a hard time with Walker Kessler maybe even going in front of him.
Yeah, that's also fair. Okay, all right. So it's not as bad as I thought. It's still kind of bad.
Christian Brown should have been a 16th overall pick, he said.
It's kind of bad.
Jaden
Hardy, 17. It's kind of bad.
Hardy, 18.
It's kind of bad because he is a guy who didn't play a single fucking game last year as a number 3 pick above guys who actually did play. But like here, do with that what you will.
Yeah, Ochai fell. Malachi Brown.
Same spot, 20.
Usman Jang seems like he went down.
Yeah, Usman Jang went down hard.
Terry,
yeah.
Jake LaRavia.
What happened to Dalen Terry, bro? He did not do shit this year. What's up, Beauchamp?
Yeah, Beauchamp went down. Ty went down. Payne Watson went down.
Payne Watson didn't do much either.
Jabari Walker didn't do shit.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't do anything.
He had moments, but then didn't.
Christian Coloco didn't really do much either.
He started the year and it made it seem like he was. Okay, guys, it's going to be the episode. We have nothing else to talk about.
Pirtle time.
Yeah, Pirtle. It's the last thing.
But, man, interesting to see that redraft. It's also after 1 year, so you never really know what the fuck to do with the redraft after 1 year. But
Anthony Edwards.
Oh my god, dude!
I just know he's one of the only people who posed like that.
Yeah. That was it. Wow. Well, fuck. That was a quick Pirtle.
Once you've been doing them for a year, you get to know.
You get to know him a lot easier. I'm still not as good with the silhouettes.
Yeah. Plus, I edit so many thumbnails doing that shit.
Yeah, and you just see all the shots. All right. Well. A little bit of a different time, different show for you guys today. It was just the 2 of us.
Yeah.
But we'll be back tomorrow, same time usual. I'm pretty sure, unless something changes.
No, same time. Actually, I might need you to co-host because I gotta go into work early tomorrow to cover accounting commission.
Okay, so me and Jackson can figure out what to do with that. But yeah, so
this probably be more the show went live, but this would probably be better with the clips.
Yeah, it's more of a laid back show. There wasn't much to talk about today because we're waiting. We have a big day tomorrow.
We do have a big.
We have a massive day tomorrow. We have our favorite series. Well, my least favorite because we didn't fucking make it. The finals. We got the final draft announcement, final draft deadline. We're gonna have to make a new mock for Monday.
That is very true. New mock.
We're gonna have an updated mock because this isn't the last mock of the year, but this mock on Monday is going to be the last mock that actually substantially changes anything, unless some random reports come out, because there's no more basketball workouts. Like, no more, like, well, public, at least. I guess teams are still probably doing some private stuff. But no more basketball, no more combine.
Are they not allowed to work out after a certain day?
Yeah, but I don't know what's how X amount of days before the draft, but I can't remember how many days before the draft it is. You have to look it up. But maybe it is now. I don't know. But you have to look it up. But yeah. Take it easy, guys. We'll see you guys. We'll be right back here tomorrow.
Tell a friend. And if you guys didn't enjoy, just forget it ever happened. We're going to be back here tomorrow. Well, I won't be, but these boys will be taking care of the show and making sure everything goes as smoothly as possible. But yeah, hasta la vista, motherfuckers.
Pasta.
Cheers. Alrighty. It is night driving time. Ciao.